How many of you guys want to be in the fitness industry? If you do, raise your hand. Okay, we got a few of you. What else do you guys want to do? Somebody who doesn't want to be in the fitness industry, raise your hand. What do you want to do?
I'm going to be a professional welder.
Speak up.
I'm going to be a professional welder.
You're going to be a professional welder. Awesome. What else?
Business.
Business. What type of business, you know? Or
I'm going to start off like at a place like GameStop, take over their company, and then buy out other ones.
Okay. Speak up. When you speak, speak loud and clearly. Speak with authority.
Music producer.
Music producer. Okay. Awesome.
Police officer.
Police officer. Cool. Cool. Don't arrest me. Anybody else? Loud. A chef. Awesome. 99% of the people who come in to talk to you during your high school career, during your time in college, they're going to say to you that you are going to be successful. They're going to say to you that if you work hard and you go out there and you try your best, you are going to be successful. I'm not in that 99%. In all likelihood, no matter what, every one of you is going to experience a failure. Every one of you is going to experience a failure. That is not a death sentence. Your success in this life is not going to be determined by your ability to succeed. It is going to be determined by your ability to fail, to continue with your plan, and to move forward. It's those of us who can experience failure and keep moving that are going to succeed. You're going to have a moment, and I call this your Dante moment. How many of you read The Divine Comedy, Dante? If you ever read this, Dante was a poet, and he starts his book off where he falls asleep alone in the wood in the middle of his life. And he wakes up, he doesn't know where he is. So he tries to go down one path, and he sees a lion. He tries to go down another path, and he sees a wolf. And he's full of fear. He doesn't know what to do until the poet Virgil appears before him. And Virgil takes him on a tour of hell and purgatory. And then because Virgil can't go up to heaven, someone else takes him on a tour of heaven. And this gives Dante an overall perspective on life. My Dante moment came about 4 years ago. I was a PhD candidate at UC Santa Barbara, studying for my doctorate in political science. I got picked to lead a trip to Greece. And prior to this trip, I was going through some issues. I fell into a lot of the trappings that a lot of you might fall into. I developed issues with alcoholism. I developed issues with substance abuse. And though on all outward appearances I was succeeding, I was a mess. And so, by some grace of God, I got picked to go on this trip to Greece, and I went out there to teach these guys philosophy. It was a fraternity trip, and they wanted me to teach them about life and philosophy and take them through some readings. And I was sitting there, and I'd been in fitness my whole life, but I also had this PhD thing. And everybody in my life was telling me, you have to continue with your degree. You want to graduate, you want to become a professor, you want a career. And I was sitting there, and we were at the Oracle of Delphi. Have any of you ever heard of this? All right. The Oracle of Delphi, back in ancient times, was the Disneyland of ancient times. And I'm sitting there, thousands of people, millions of people throughout time had come there to hear the Oracle speak. By the time we got there, it was a pile of rocks in the middle of the mountains of Greece. It was beautiful, but there was no one around but us. And I'm sitting there, and they're having a discussion on religion, and I'm sitting on this rock, and there's this column of ants coming by. And I'm watching this column of ants, because it's the only other life that was around us. And I came to an epiphany. This was my Dante moment. I realized that 100 years from now, everybody I know, me, myself included, my mom, all my friends I had, Nicki Minaj, any other pop star that you could think of, they're all going to be dead. Everybody you know is going to be dead in 100 years. And that's a morbid thought to think. But it means something. It means that we have a limited time in this life. It means that your time here, though you think because you're in high school you have unlimited time, your time is so limited. Our lives are so short. So in our lives, we have a choice. We can do what everybody else wants us to do. We could play a script and we can try to go down a depicted path for ourselves. Or we can take every moment of our lives and try to live it to the fullest. A lot of you are going to go through periods where you're just going through the motions of life. You may be doing that right now. A lot of you are going to have times where you have regrets. But as long as you're living and breathing, you have an obligation, because you've been given the gift of life, to live your life to its fullest. And a lot of you, though it's a very scary thing, will come to this Dante moment, and someday you are going to be so thankful that it happened. Because it's scary, because it's going to fill you with fear. If you want to open up a business, the life of a businessman is full of fear. It's full of failures. But you have to almost want those failures, because they're learning experiences. Because they're the things that are going to make you strong. When you come to a tougher challenge, you're going to be ready for that challenge, because you failed. You've been there before. The hurt is not going to be so bad the next time. Once I came back from that trip, I decided to go down and open up Metroflex Gym Long Beach. I had some money on the side. I'd been personal training on the side. I'd been bodybuilding and powerlifting since the age of 12. I had learned everything I could about nutrition. I had a mathematical background from my PhD experience. And so I took all my money and I got a business partner, and we opened up this little gym in Long Beach that was basically just a warehouse with a few pieces of equipment. Those were probably the scariest moments of my life. We opened up that gym because during the first 3 or 4 months, the gym wasn't making any money. And I had to do everything I could to make money. So I started personal training 12 hours a day, on top of managing the gym for 4 hours, on top of keeping the gym clean, cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning the outside, making sure that the gym was presentable, all while doing marketing and trying to get the name out there so that we could have business. I worked and I worked, and eventually the gym started to gain a name for itself. And let's see, 4 years, this is probably about 5 years ago. The gym started gaining a name for itself. We got in Flex magazine, and then somebody who was about to be a good friend of mine walked into the gym, and his name was CT Fletcher. Just walked into the gym by chance. Do any of you know who he is at all? He's a pretty big YouTube star. He's got, I think, close to 1 million followers. And in that time, I also hired a guy. I didn't hire him, but I brought him in as a trainer. His name's Mike Rashid. And he turned out to be one of the biggest fitness personalities on YouTube today, too. I coached both of these guys. I helped Mike Rashid get his WPFF Pro card. I gained a name as a nutrition coach. I helped CT win his natural bodybuilding world championship, and then I helped him win the Southern California Excalibur. And slowly my name started getting out there, and people would start to come to me for nutrition guidance and training, things like that. And I thought, almost in my mind, that I was about to succeed. I thought, you know what, Chris? This was a good path to go down. This is where you're going to make it. And just at that moment, I started to look at my finances. Everything I had, all the money I had, was going back into the gym. It was getting to the point where I couldn't afford a cup of coffee. And you get to this point, and you sit there and you think to yourself, wow, did everything I could. I went to school. I have multiple degrees. I served in the United States Marine Corps. And I'm sitting here and I can't afford a cup of coffee. But it was a situation I had put myself into, and it was a situation that I had to overcome. And I'm not telling you this to discourage you from business or anything like that, but I'm telling you about a failure that I needed to overcome to get to where I am today. After a while, my situation got worse, and I was diagnosed with a disease called ulcerative colitis. It's an autoimmune disease that affects the intestinal tract. I was unable to absorb most of the nutrition that was going into my body. My body deteriorated. I was down to about 145, 150 pounds. I couldn't work as much as I was, and because I couldn't work, less money was coming in. And so I had to sell all my shares of Metroflex Gym, which was to become one of the most famous gyms in the world, to my business partner. And I left, and I found myself without an apartment because I lost the apartment, living out of my car. And I'd like to say that living out of my car was a low point, but it wasn't. Because there's a situation you can get yourself into where you understand that material possessions are absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. I had nothing but what was in my car. I had myself, I had my dog, and I had a young lady that I was beginning to date that didn't really seem to care why I was living out of my car, so that seemed pretty cool. A couple of friends took me in. My friend Mike Sheet gave me a computer, and he said, listen, I know you're going through some bad situations right now. I want you to pick yourself up, start your business, use this computer. And so I said to myself, I have to do something. I have nothing to lose. There is nothing that can come out of this situation that's going to make my situation any worse. So I went out and I started a YouTube channel, and went slowly at first, but as I began to gain a little bit of notoriety, I started taking on clients, and I found myself several months later into a much different financial situation. Whereas I had negative $1,000 in my account the month before, I moved into a situation where I was making a lot more money, closer to $10,000 to $12,000 a month. And it was amazing for me because all my time in personal training, I said to myself, okay, I have to work. I was working 12 to 15 hours a day between training clients one-on-one. In this situation, I could take on 80 to 100 clients. I'd still be working all day long, but I was able to handle a lot more and make a lot more money. And this is the next thing you have to understand, is that creativity is going to be your ally in those situations of failure. Right? Who survives in evolution? Who?
Strongest.
It's not the strongest.
Smartest.
Not the smartest. Huh?
Fittest.
Not the fittest. It's the most adaptable. Those who are most able to adapt to a situation. And this is where creativity comes in. If you cannot adapt, no matter how strong you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how much you remember from your time here in high school, no matter what school you went to for college, you are going to fail, and not only fail, but not be resilient enough to come out of that failure. You have to be able to adapt. You have to understand something about the world today. And the fact of the matter is that the world today is trying to make you weak. Everything you come in contact with through popular culture, through the media, is trying to make you weak. It's put you into a mindset where you think that things like Bentleys and Jordans are important. It's put you into a mindset where you think that famous people don't work for their money. The fact of the matter is that the world is actually a very fair place where if you work and you work beyond what you think you were capable of, you'll be able to get money. You'll be able to get all the things that you want. But if you start spending your money on things that don't matter before you get there, that's a situation where you are going to never get anywhere. It's like running on a treadmill. So while you were young, develop those values of work, develop those values of saving and investing your money, and take all that crap, all the media, all the music, take it for what it is entertainment, but don't listen to it as a philosophy of life. don't adapt to what they want you to become, which is consumers. They want you to buy products, right? And in this life, you can either be a consumer or a producer. As a consumer, all you're doing is spending money. You get clothes, you get brand name sneakers, you get a car, right? As a producer, you're creating things and making money. So you have to create, you have to build. If you want the things that you want, your creativity is going to be your best ally. I don't want to take up too much more time with a speech or anything like that. I know you guys want to get into the nitty-gritty of fitness and stuff, but I just wanted to go over that stuff for you because I want you to understand that regardless of what career you get into, if it's a music producer, if it's a businessman, if it's a personal trainer, life is going to be hard. But you have to understand that life is going to be hard, right? You have to understand that failure is going to come to you. It's a given. Don't sit there and be one of those people that says, I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to have any hard times in my life, because you will have hard times in your life. And when you understand that, you're prepared for what is to come. Do I have any questions? Did I scare anybody? I hope I didn't scare.
10 questions yesterday, where'd they go? Where did you start your career?
Can you speak up?
Where did you start your career?
Started my career at 24 Hour Fitness, right? And working in a corporate gym, it's awful, right? It's one of the worst situations you get yourself into, but it's valuable because you're going to learn what it is to work long hours for low wages. You're going to learn what it is to work without making a lot of money, but you're also going to learn how to sell. You're going to learn how to keep a schedule. You're going to learn the basic skills of being a personal trainer. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, Chris, I want to be an online trainer. I want to be an online coach. And I say to them, well, have you trained anybody before? Have you actually done this before? And the thing is, you have to spend that time in the trenches. You have to do those 12 to 15 hours a day before you can do anything else. You have to help a certain amount of people before you can help more people, because it's that experience that's going to help you get there.
How did you get the startup cash to start your business?
So I am one of those types of people who have been able to start up businesses with no capital whatsoever. So I've done a technique called bootstrapping. So my online business, I started with absolutely nothing. My clothing company, I started with cash that I bootstrapped from my other business. And my advice as far as gaining cash, if you're looking to take cash on, you always take cash from somebody who's going to be a strategic partner. That means somebody who can add to your skill set. Don't take them just for their money. Because if you're taking them just for their money, all they're interested in is their equity. They're not interested in helping, right? When you do something like this, make sure that you have a good business plan, make sure you have a good design, and make sure that you're able to present, make sure that you're able to do public speaking. Because the venture capital firms, they're absolutely insane as far as what they put their investees through. So make sure you brush up on all of that. What got me started in bodybuilding? Well, I was about 12 years old and my mom brought me into a drugstore, and she used to shop, and I don't like shopping very much, so I picked up a magazine, and I was reading through the magazine and I saw, these guys, and I was raised without a father. I never had a dad or anything like that, and so I was always trying to do things that would educate me as a man. I never had anybody to play sports with me as a kid. I was horrible at baseball because nobody ever taught me how to throw a baseball. I was one of those kids, when I got into Little League, I was dandelion picking out in far left field. So I saw that and I wanted that. I wanted, that look, that attention. As I got into it more and more, I served in the Marine Corps. It's not really easy to be a bodybuilder in the Marine Corps or anything like that. I got more and more into the science side of things and understanding the nutrition behind it and understanding muscle hypertrophy and the science behind that. I have to say that now I'm less enchanted by bodybuilding than I ever was. And the reason is because I find more value in contributing to my clients' health and longevity and contributing to their conditioning and contributing to their performance. Now, that's not to say that aesthetics, which is bodybuilding, and performance and nutrition and health and all that can't go together. That's just to say that the industry, the way it is, because it's been modeled on this consumerist ideal that you have to take certain supplements and shun other certain types of supplements. The industry today is awful. I really dislike the bodybuilding industry. I really dislike what it stands for because it stands for this consumerist ideology that's just simply trying to get you to buy more products, buy different types of supplements that may or may not work for you, may or may not be the best thing for you. And there's a lot of charlatans out there. There's a lot of good people too, but all right, what's up? Huh? Speak up loud. What motivates me today? That's a good question. You know, my life today is in a lot of ways a lot harder than it ever was. I wake up between 4 and 5 a.m. every day, and I work from about 5 a.m. to about 10 a.m. when I go to the gym with Shauna and her sister. I work out for 2 hours and then come back, and then I'm working from that time period all the way up to 11 p.m. at night. I sleep about probably 4 to 4.5 hours a night, and I love it. I enjoy it. I roll out of bed, I go to my living room, I meditate for about 20 minutes, and then I start working. And a lot of people would be like, well, you're sleeping 4 hours a day, you're working this many hours, why are you enjoying it so much? And the reason why I'm enjoying it is because, one, I really enjoy helping. And if you're going to be in the fitness industry, you have to almost be selfless. You have to almost have a personality where you just desire to help people. And you desire to help people not only look better, but feel better, be healthier, and perform better in their lives. Number two, I really like creating things. I have a joy for creating products. I have a joy for writing. I have a joy for communicating. And whatever you do in this life, no matter what it is, you have to develop that kind of joy. You have to really enjoy what you're doing if you're going to get anything. Because it goes back to that factor. As I said at the beginning, life is short. 100 years from now, we're all going to be dead. So you have to do what you enjoy while you're here. That answer